Welcome back to LJ's Comic Burrow. My name is Jay. I'm your host. I'm going to let you know I probably have recorded this maybe like six, seven times already. So I should be good at this moment to be able to explain to you everything what I'm about to tell you. First, let me introduce to you my very, very special co host. He is an awesome little boy. He is Rocket's brother. His name is Groot. And before I pick him up, because he's a little squirmy just for me, let me get a little bit of backstory. One, I picked him and Rocket up and down in Baltimore. They were just let go, unfortunately. Somebody just brought him down there, said we couldn't take care of him anymore. I saw this, or I should say my wife saw this on Facebook. I went down, I rescued him right away because they were actually in a kill shelter at the time. I'm sure somebody would have found them. I'm sure they would have gotten out of there, but I wasn't taking any chances. I personally wanted to get them. Not long after we got them, we found a couple mast cell tumors on Groot, and yes, I know they're not cancerous, but we didn't know that at the time. So him and my wife's little favorite boy, Aladdin or Aladar, ended up going. Were scheduled for surgery the same day. The sad part is Aladar didn't come home, and this broke my heart. Broke my wife's heart. She was so distraught after everything, and it took. At this point in time, I still think that she still thinks of that little boy every time he moves backwards and runs and plays. I'm sure she still thinks of that little boy. There's lots of little babies that do some things that he does, so pretty much an cumulative thing. She sits there and will shed a tear thinking about him. So, like I said, Groot ended up coming home, um, and I told her, I said, "This little boy's looking for love. I have lots of love, but his brother is trying to take up all my attention. Why don't you give him a chance?" So several days later, you could just tell that they were warming up to each other, and now he just follows her around endlessly, just wanting her to pick him up and give him, get kisses and give kisses and lots of hugs. So let me introduce you to Groot. At this point in time, I will say he is shivering because he is trying to sleep, and like I said, and this isn't my first take. This is definitely like my seventh take at the time. So say hi, everybody. Look, he's even got his paw up. Hi, everybody. You're going to be a national TV star. Oh, he is so good. Unfortunately, he's usually pretty squirmy with me, so I can't hold him for very long. He used to be a lot better for me at the time. Now he's going to prove me a liar. So, everybody say hi to my wife's little baby boy, and I will get back to him at a little later date or a later time today. He will be around to say goodbye. He's just sitting around sleeping, and he's more squirmy for me. I also got to say is Happy New Comic Book Day. I know this is coming a little later, and I don't pick up my new comic books on New Comic Book Day. I do have the last 2 weeks that I didn't pick up. I picked them up a few days ago, so I'm a little behind. That's because I'm poor. So let me get into a couple of the issues that I picked up. Actually, all the issues that I picked up. I try to sell it to you. You go pick them up, you read them, and find out if they're as good as I said. First issue that I actually have here in front of me, and I told you before, I follow writers. I don't follow characters anymore. After Amazing Spider-Man and Wells' depiction of Spider-Man, I just can't do it anymore. And I know. If you're starting to read it, I heard it's getting good. After selling me so many horrible issues, I just can't take a chance at that anymore. So I will tell you about a writer that I absolutely love with awesome cover art. His name is Mr. Jed MacKay. This is a book that you should pick up and read. Now, before Jed started writing for Doctor Strange, hell, even when Donny Cates wrote it, I didn't follow it. I just had no interest. The movies looked amazing. The storytelling was what kept me into it. But when Jed McKay decided to take this book on, I decided to give it a chance because I absolutely started falling in love with everything that he wrote and everything he did. I read his Death of Doctor Strange. I'm reading his Moon Knight series, two of the best series, and I started reading his Avengers series. So far, he has hit a home run. He's picked up an amazing cover artist for his A cover. If you get a chance, please go pick up this book. You won't be let down. I promise you. I'm not going to lie about. You know something? If I didn't like you, I'd probably put you onto a really crappy comic book, and it's just because I don't like you. But for those watching this show, if you get a chance, pick up Doctor Strange. They're right now only on number 5. I'm sure you can find the back issues to get the whole collection. That one won't let you down. Another, and this one makes me sad, I promise you. I'm sitting here, I'm looking at it, and I'm getting teary-eyed already. Probably because this series is about to end, at least on Chip's part. If you get a chance, go find the collected editions of this series. From beginning to now, to the end, and I'm sure the ending will be phenomenal. Chip has done a great work. It's probably some of his best work. And now he's working on Batman. There's nothing negative I can say about his punitive work on Daredevil. Even the bridge that he did to combine both volumes, it was definitely, you could tell even with those little individual side stories that he had his imprint in each one of those. So if you get a chance, and I know you don't want to start at the very end, personally, I jumped on it as soon as possible. Pick up Daredevil. All right? The ending is coming. Chip is leaving it. He's going to be Batman full-time unless he picks up something new. So take a chance, read the ending of this story, or pick up the collection, finish up with Daredevil. This is one of those other stories that you won't regret. Chip is probably one of the better writers out there that has done Daredevil. I know for all you Frank Miller fans, and I get it, I loved Frank Miller's Daredevil. But Chip has brought Daredevil to the forefront again, to one of those characters that you gotta follow. So pick up some of Chip's work. And while you're at it, pick up his Batman. His issues are already starting to become hard to find unless you go to eBay or you live around a comic book store that has nobody around it for miles upon miles, and then you'll be the only one to going in there and getting some of that stuff. But get a chance to pick up his work. So, this book here. When two of your favorite creators get together and decide to do a book, you have to at least give it a chance. And that being said, this is one of those books. Maxwell Prince and Martin Simmons. You got Ice Cream Man and Department of Truth getting together and writing an incredible story. Personally, it was put in my box by Comics Connection, as a suggestion. And I decided to take it up. I've loved the work that Prince has done. Aha, Ice Cream Man. So I was like, well, can't go wrong on the writer. And then Martin Simmons, Department of Truth. The artwork on those A covers is top notch. So, and I know before I show you this, each artist is going to be different on each one of the individual covers. So the next number 2 is going to have a different artist, and number 3 is going to have a different artist, and so on and so forth. So you're not going to get the same work each time, but what you will get is Maxwell Prince, who really has never let me down in Ice Cream Man. I know there's been a few issues that people say that gone stale, but to me, one of the best horror stories out there, and horror stories told comedically. It's just the work. The work is undoubtedly probably some of the best work that you could put on a horror comic. So this little book, and I was, from what I gather, after reading it and then reading what the other books are about, is pretty much about the end time or death, or and I don't know if each story is going to honestly be connected, or it's going to be individual stories, or so there's not too much I can say, but at least with this issue got me pretty interested into want to collect the rest of them, at least try number 2. What I'm saying is, get Swan Song if you have a chance. Awesome work. The artwork is top notch, and if I get a chance to have this signed, I will, and not just because it's 2 of my favorite creators working on one book, but if you can look, that artwork is amazing, and it matches everything that Prince is putting down on paper. So if you get a chance, at least give it a try. It's brand new, number 1, out last week. Pick it up. Swan Song. So every generation has a once in a lifetime generation, writers, artists, inkers. And I guess I got four issues right here to show you, and I decided to start picking up the cover artwork for this particular artist, and not because I'm jumping on the bandwagon, but I absolutely have always been enamored by his artwork. Now, personally, I wasn't an artwork, kind of collector at one time. I enjoyed the writing. Because I was a writer. I used to write music, poetry, stories, short stories, and a couple of different things. I know they didn't go anywhere, but I'm right here, so. But after my wife, started showing me what she enjoyed about comic books, it was the artwork for her. I mean, she liked the stories, but they were a little too short, each story, but the artwork is what sold her most of their comic books. That being said, every generation has a once in a lifetime, I think, artist, or maybe 2 in a lifetime or whatever. And during his time, it was him. There's definitely artists out there that I wish I would ever gotten a signature, and he's definitely one of them. I think I've gotten a one signed book from my local comic book store, Comics Connection, that he actually witnessed George Perez signing. But let me just get into the meat potatoes of things here. The first book I do read. Phil Kennedy, Nick Klein. I'm telling you, get a chance, read the book, pick it up. Monsters upon monsters. It brings back the Incredible Hulk to where it should be. And I know there's a lot of people out there that absolutely hated that Donny Cates series. I didn't hate it. I didn't say it was the best, but I didn't hate it. I can see where Donny Cates was going well before things, started being played out. I love the way things were headed. Unfortunately, with Donny Cates having a lot of, I guess, personal issues or different things going on in his life, he wasn't able to follow up with the rest of that story. I would have loved to be able to have that conversation with him and find out where he was headed. But that'll be another time, another story. But when you match that with George Perez's cover art, I mean, holy cow! Look at that. Nobody draws Hawk like that. I mean, look, he's coming out of his clothing. He's amazing. He's green. He's everything that you would ever think about when you think about the Incredible Hulk. George Perez absolutely put together one of the best drawings for the Incredible Hulk. And there was, I will say, I wasn't a big fan of the first several issue covers of Hulk. Kirby, I think, did the best trying to get out what Jim Stan Lee was actually writing. But this is probably one of this was probably one of my best depictions of what the Hulk should look like. Right here, if you get a chance. They're still young in the issues. If you can find this at your local comic book store, if you live around in the abandoned comic book store and they still have this issue, please go pick it up. George Perez's Incredible Hulk. The story will sell you the rest. Now, this next character, I've already crapped on. There's no reason for me to get this other than it's a George Perez cover. Now, from me reading the ratings on this book, it absolutely depicts why Falcon deserves his own Captain America story, and hopefully, eventually, one day he gets it. To me, Captain America is just too goody two shoes. There's been no way that he's been written that I would honestly think that I need to follow this man or follow his adventures. But you gave me a George Perez cover, and I'm ready to buy, and I already did. Spent my money on a George Perez Captain America. Right there. Absolutely love this man. Like I said, George Perez has a way of being able to tell a story without even needing words. You can tell by the eyes, the look, the demeanor. You can tell what this man is thinking right now. This man is thinking is, I want to kill you. Stop talking crap about me. Look, I might just do that just because I don't want me, Mr. Captain America, here sitting there stabbing me in the back. So, if you get a chance, you get it. This is number 750. I think it came out either last week or the week before. If you get a chance, pick up some George Perez goodness. Go ahead, Captain America. And like I said, I've read that it actually is a very, very good story. Just too goody for me. All right. Now I'm a fan of Kirby's original artwork for the Fantastic Four. I am. I'm a fan of the writing. It's hard for me to want to, after reading the collected editions of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's Fantastic Four, it's hard for me to even want to get into anybody's Fantastic Four, including Ryan North. And honestly, I don't even look at what this book is about. I didn't even, because I'm just not a fan of the newer stories, and I think it's probably because it's been rebooted so many times that I just have no interest anymore. So if I get a Fantastic Four, it's probably because of the cover, but not just any cover. That's right, it's George Perez. Beautiful, beautiful cover, and you can just tell by their demeanor how angry and upset they are at this gentleman. You can tell that they are filled with rage right now, or she looks a little scared. You can tell he's a little raged. So, if you get a chance, and if you want a great Fantastic Four cover, George Perez does a phenomenal job. Please go pick it up. I'm sure they still have some issues out there. You, it's just another George Perez goodness. I mean, what can you say bad about George Perez? Absolutely nothing. I don't think there has been anybody in the comic book business has been ever able to say anything bad about George Perez. Phenomenal. Last but not least, actually second to last but not least, this next book here is another book that I'll probably never even pick up and read. I don't even know what it's about, other than this George Perez. So, as I have flaunted before, I am a huge Jim Starlin fan. Huge Jim Starlin fan. And this being a Jim Starlin, a Jim Starlin, not a character, he didn't create it, but a Jim Starlin form of Captain Marvel. George Perez does a phenomenal job. Now, I'm not a fan of her, and no, all you pigs out there, it's not because she's a female. It's just because she hasn't. I don't relate to her. I have no interest in her. I don't think there's any story that's ever been told that I can sit there and go, "Ooh, I love Mrs. Captain Marvel." I'm just not. Actually, I do like the cat. Well, that's just because I'm an animal guy. But it's there's nothing. She's always played second fiddle to Captain Marvel. Why do you need her when you have him? Ugh. You know, the guy that really should have been the hero of all those Marvel movies. This is the story that really should have been told. Right here. This guy right here, he's the one that would have destroyed Thanos. Not her. She didn't need to be there. Fortunately, Marvel wanted to show a more of a feminine storyline, and all the females unite and stuff like that, and that's a great story. But did it need to be there in that story? That's what I'm saying. So, George Perez, beautiful cover of both Marvels. Go out and get it if you have a chance. Now, before I go any further, if you like our content or like what I'm putting out here, please subscribe. Please push the like button. And if you have any comments, you have anything to say about comics or animals, please. Or the comics that you got this week, or an animal you'd like to rescue one day, please make a comment. I have a couple days off. I promise I will reply. I'm not really doing too much during that time, except a little bit of cleaning, a little bit of yard work, a little bit of replying if you give me the chance. So, subscribe, like, comment. Thank you. Now, the last book I do have is it's a book I bought for my wife, and mostly because I love her and wanted to get her something really nice. She's a huge Thor fan. So when my local comic book store got in a huge collection of really old Thors, it was hard not to go and grab a few. Fill up a little holes in her collection. And the first book I brought home, and it was greatest thing about Comics Connection, they really do work with you. And I've had these books set aside for a little bit while I was paying off other books. So they do an amazing job to be able to work with you to get you the book that you like. Thor 163, Jack Kirby goodness. Stan Lee writing, perfect storm of two great creators put together, writing a phenomenal story. Second cameo appearance of him. No, not him. But him in the book. So if you get a chance, ever really love some great Thor stories, Jack Kirby and Stan Lee did an awesome job putting together some of the best work that you can find. But this is my voice, and I'm going to tell you right now, as soon as I get a chance, I'm going to send this little baby out to get graded for her. I think so far from what we both looked at, because I did show her when I brought it home, cover is great. No dings, white pages, and the back looks phenomenal. You know how it gets that little yellow stain? No yellow stain. Perfect color. So, when I do get it back, I'll let you know and show you what it looks like. But that was my wife's little present that I bought for her. After all said and done, that, my friend, is the show. Let me reintroduce you to my co-host again. This is my wife's little boy, Groot. And you have anything to say?
Like, subscribe, leave a message. He'll eventually write.
All right, guys. Again, if you are all looking for an animal and you want to rescue, or if you're looking for a baby, go down to your rescue. They always have animals down there that would need a little love and care.